Oh yeah. How the cover just kind of stuck. I know. You look good right there. You know, I'm laughing forever. How's it going?
On May 14, 1996, 40-some architecture students from the Honorable North Dakota State University stepped on a TWA 747 headed for the faraway land of London, England. Filled with excitement, anxiety, fear, and hope of a safe, thrilling, and of course, educational trip throughout the countries of Europe, they sat, waiting for takeoff. Two hours later, as the plane finally took flight and the attendant gave instructions, the students prayed that food would soon be there. After an excellent meal of cordon bleu or steak, the group gradually drifts off to sleep and hope that this was the last of long waits. Were they wrong? During the night, there were various activities to take part in. The movie, Jumanji, was a thrill for a minute or so, and the plane trip also came with the free use of radio and headphones, giving the listener various musical selections of folk, jazz, classical, and polka. Free beverages of all kinds were also part of the packages. And remember, 18 is as good as 21 in Europe. Eight hours later, eyes began to open as a lovely breakfast started to appear. Weary faces stared out of the windows, expecting a fabulous view of the unfamiliar land. Instead, a soft layer of beautifully billowing clouds could be seen in every direction. As the plane finally lands after, 5 or 6 circlings of the airport, the group gets prepared to present themselves to the world. They file from the plane and disperse, as if they know what they are doing.
stop in the tour was Glasgow, Scotland. Glasgow is located in north-central Scotland along the Clyde River. It saw major growth during the Industrial Revolution. The city developed around the Cartesian grid with respect to the river. However, as the industry became more prominent, the city began to turn its back on the river and used it as a waste disposal area. Today, Glasgow is still a city heavily influenced by industry, but the city is trying to change its image towards more of a cultural center. Here is an example of a day in Glasgow. This scene takes place on Sucky Hall Street, a major pedestrian mall in the city.
Welcome everybody, gather around, come on, room for everybody. All right, that's great, all right. Now if you fellows will sit tight, you'll enjoy a spectacle of grace, beauty, and danger. But, so, where are you guys from?
Canada.
Canada, huh? Well, can I get a few of you Canadians to help me with this performance?
Yo, Wesley Piper.
Yeah. What is a Wesley Piper?
Well, this is a Wesley Piper. My name is Jeff.
All right, well, thanks, guys. Now, what I need you to do is lay down on your backs at the head. And just sit tight for now. You see, I'm a juggling expert. But hey, I need to practice a little bit, so you guys just sit tight.
Let's give me a good time to start sketching, huh, Wes?
Yeah, I suppose. So, yeah, I think this guy's a little nuts here. What are we gonna do?
I don't know. What do you suggest? You talk about to forget about this movie. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. Hey, I was wondering, do you think it could be a recurring theme with Don being late?
I hope not. Next time I think I'll just sleep in so I can catch up after that plane ride. I don't notice much when I'm tired. But did you notice that freestanding building facade after George Square? You know, right after we met, it was sure cool how the city wants to retain the historical facade of the building. You never see that in America.
Hey, did any of you guys see a camera shop? Mine isn't working for nothing. I don't know what's wrong with it. I can't go much on a tour of Europe without a camera.
Well, Brack and I could have sworn I saw one just down that way somewhere around there. Just down a few more blocks.
Alright, I guess I'll head out that way. Don't leave without me, though.
All right, fellas, what I'm gonna do here is take these sharp swords and juggle them while I walk over you. But just give me another second, because I've been known to drop them every once in a while. So just give me practice.
Hey, Jeff, talking about the, St. George's Square. Yeah. I was noticing on the map that you're trying to find my way around. There's not many green spaces here in Glasgow. I'm wondering because of the Industrial Revolution and how it affected the city's growth. Like with the putting a grid on as the layout of the city. And how they kind of seem to have forgotten about the river.
Yeah, some of the rest of us noticed that too. Seems like the city turned its back on the river during the industrial growth. It could enhance the river front much more. Do you notice all the pollution in the air or all the buildings?
Yeah, I noticed at the University of Glasgow, all the buildings seem to be messed up a little bit with dirt and grime and all that.
Yeah, I noticed that too. However, I didn't mind it all that much because it gave the buildings character and some life. It was like having hundreds of years of history being told to you when you're standing there. Do you see the Macintosh exhibit up there? Huh?
All right, you two. Now you just lay down here. I'm gonna start this then, but hey, you might want to protect yourself. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh. Hey, Jeff, talking about Renee McIntosh. Did you notice how the Art Nouveau style kind of related to Frank Lloyd Wright's organic?
Yeah, Turner and I were discussing that while we were there. We also thought that the school reinforces. You all right? That the school reinforces the new image that Glasgow is portraying. Did you hear Don when he said it was named the European City of Culture for 1899? Turner and I hope that they have some of the Macintosh's influence in designing more of the city. It would add to the history of the city and give it more character. Speaking of Turner, have you seen him lately?
Hey, where have you been? Did you stop off for some Guinness or something?
Oh, that's for later tonight. Actually, I was up by the cathedral at the cemetery, tracing the old family tree back, looking at the headstones. I actually found something for my family.
Really? That's pretty cool. Did you expect you?
Not really. first, not really, but I guess I just got lucky.
Hey, how far down was that place you sent me to? I walked until I saw a sign that said next right London.
Well, I told you it was just down that way, just a few more blocks. You must have just passed it. Try.
Send me around on a wild goose chase in a foreign country why don't you?
All right, fellas. One more time, I'm pulling back. Just sit tight. I'll get it this time.
Hey Jeff, did you see that cathedral in Glasgow that Terry was talking about? It's just not something you see in America.
Yeah, that was quite amazing, Wes.
Oh.
I thought also that it was European, along with the cemetery. I was surprised about the American influence, though.
There was a Pizza Hut, Warner Brothers store, a McDonald's. After going through the St. Enoch Shopping Center, I thought it was back in the good old U.S. It could have been part of the old Mall of America.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If it wasn't for those pedestrian malls, it'd seem like we were back at home. It's kind of neat to see how the pedestrian malls, like Second Hall Street, really work. A lot of people.
Hey, Bracken, your camera fixed?
No. The guy took one look at it. He told me if it's not Scottish, it's crap. So I ended up buying a new one. Pretty much blew my whole budget for London and for Scotland. So in my despair, I stopped in at Fat Folks for a while. Had some Guinness, a little bit of cider, this one thing called Orange Max. You guys really got to try some of that stuff.
Well, thank you all for coming this afternoon. I would like to give a big hand to my volunteers here. I think they're okay, but they'll make it. So thanks. Thanks a lot, folks.
Can you start on time tomorrow?
I hope so, because I really like that Guinness stuff. It doesn't seem to like me in the morning.
On the first day of London tours, Don started to group off at St. Paul's Cathedral, nestled within the urban fabric. The cathedral, with two symmetrical spires on each side of the facade, being atypical from the usual central spired plan, is a landmark to the city and a visual focus to the streets that connect to it. As a result of the Great Fire in London of 1666, redevelopment of the cathedral was completed by Christopher Wren between 1668 and 1710. The formation of the spaces around the cathedral is unique in the way that the streets leading to it and the buildings framing it diverge at their approach and converge at the conclusion, giving the cathedral hierarchical importance. The ascent up the 504 steps between the layers of the dome wall were quite tiring for the students, but the view at the top was well worth it. The dense city, seeming to be never-ending, was amazing. A distinct difference between London and the typical American city was apparent. The tallest and largest structures were sporadically spread throughout the view, and no one area was distinguishable as the heart or center of the city. After touring the cathedral, the group made their way through the small, defined streets of London, where a car would barely fit. They gradually led to a business district with many modern steel and glass structures, one being designed by the Chicago firm SOM. Traveling further, the students passed by the Barbican Center, consisting of a well-known theater, a music school, a girls' school, a library, office complexes, and more than 65,000 residential units. The complex was huge and largely designed for pedestrian use and comfort with multiple outdoor gathering areas. Before lunch, the students visited the area known as Broadgate, consisting of many dynamic spaces. One space which many people spent time in was very active with musical performance in the central area and many businessmen and women on lunch break. The space was very bright due to the excess use of concrete, but quite inviting, being comfortably enclosed by tall structures on the perimeter. One of the most unique and well-known contemporary buildings was the Lloyd's of London Insurance Building, completed in 1986 by Richard Rogers. The inversion of the building, or placement of all services on the exterior, creating very high-tech appearance, allows for excellent air conditioning and acoustics. At night, each of the vertical elements are separately lit up, creating a magnificent effect. The building, being wedged amid the medieval-scaled streets of London's financial district, is composed of modules based on the ceiling's concrete grid. Each cover has a data address in the main computer, which allows the building operators to activate lighting, power, and air conditioning individually. Although the design was well intended as an energy-efficient system, it is often criticized for creating more problems than a conventional building. The exterior services and elevators require an extensive amount of maintenance and care. Heading along the river towards the Tower Bridge was the last mission of the day. Designed by Horace Jones and engineered by John Wolfe Barry, it opened on June 30th, 1894, after 8 years of construction, due to extensive underwater work needed to lay the foundation. The bridge has a movable center span, powered by 2 steam pumping engines, which is drawn up daily for the passage of water traffic. The Tower Bridge, one of the many along the Thames River, is supported by 2 large towers and allows for two-way traffic and a large pedestrian path. It stands out as one of much importance and is full of history. The day ended with many students spending their supper time at the authentic Hard Rock Cafe and returning to Euro Tower for a healthy night's rest.
Yeah, well, what about that second day?
Being the day that pigeon dropped that present on Rachel on Trafalgar Square.
Hey, Turner, come and join us.
Yeah, you know, they still got some sketching done this morning.
Yeah, that was the only sketching I got done that day.
Oh, Turner, I dropped my soap. Can you get that for me, please?
I'll get you some for you anytime, Figure.
Hey, thanks, bud. Ouch.
What'd you do, Butler?
I'm gonna cut myself shaving again. This is a lot of pressure.
I didn't really know that.
On the second day, the group met at Trafalgar Square, a hardscape outdoor space dominated by a centrally placed Corinthian column commemorating Admiral Nelson, who was killed at the Battle of Trafalgar against Napoleon in 1805. The square was designed by John Nash and constructed during the 1830s. More recently, in March of 1986, 287 entries were received to redevelop the space on the south side of the square to further enclose the space. The challenge of this project was to design a new building that would form part of the enclosing wall rather than announce its individuality by using a bold, simple form, avoid breaking up the mass, and using the classical language. Don first led the group to one of London's most important and best preserved historic neighborhoods, Covent Garden, also the birthplace of modern town planning in London. The group spent some time in the Market Building, renovated by Charles Fowler between 1828 and 1830. It was designed as a fine classical building of formal dignity, yet flexible enough to embrace the complex demands of a wholesale and retail market. Businesses were relocated in 1964, and a restoration took place in 1974. The new Fowler's Market, with completely new architectural ornaments, is meant to be used and enjoyed today as a lively, bustling place filled with diverse activity, and it pays its way commercially. After the lunch break, the students visited the House of Parliament, which is also known as the home of the famous clock tower and bell, Big Ben. This fancy mock Gothic building replaced the original Palace of Westminster, which burned down in 1834. Westminster Abbey, just a short stroll away, is an architectural masterpiece. This medieval cathedral was built through the 13th to 16th centuries and renovated by John Bentley in an Italianate Byzantine style under the direction of Cardinal Herbert Vaughan in the 1980s. It was immediately criticized as a Cardinal Vaughan's railway station, but is now an accepted and admired feature of London. The Abbey has also been the crowning and burial place of kings and queens since 1066. The last stop of the day was the well-known Tate Gallery, which was founded in 1897. It houses the national collections of British art from the 16th century to the present day. It also had on display international 20th century art and was interesting and unusual. The tour ended on the Tate Gallery front lawn, with most people devouring a tasty ice cream cone from a friendly vendor nearby and feeling fortunate for the short sling of pleasant weather.
Oh, my towel is still wet from the other night. I'm never gonna dry. No, it'll be cold all day.
Maybe you should use the TWA blanket you stole from the airplane.
Well, I was going to, but I heard that they don't soak up the water very well. That's what Fred Pfeiffer said. Boy, I hope you get everything as cold as yesterday. I think we stay in the shower all day, especially the unisex showers. I'm gonna miss this back in the States. I don't think you want to do that, Kegger.
Yeah, I'm not gonna miss that traffic. Yesterday I almost got hit by a taxi cab when we were walking towards All Souls Church.
Those English folks sure do drive crazy. They don't even know how to drive on the right side of the street.
Yeah, I'm already starting to miss the States, guys. I mean, it's hard to believe you've only been here for just 10 days.
No kidding. You still got 6 weeks left.
Despite the bitter cold and drizzling rain, the group slowly appeared at the Camden Town tube stop on the morning of Wednesday, May 22nd, 1996. Ready to begin another adventure, the tour saw a bit more of the modern architectural developments and a modern-looking grocery store. But it was at Regent Park where the group began retracing an ever-important trek through history. John Nash's London project was the most inspired example of city planning in English history. Continuing the picturesque tradition, Nash's plan began in 1811 with the design of Regent Park, a vast English garden which was to accommodate approximately 50 villas, although fewer than half were actually built. Some of these include Park Village East, located at a northeast entrance and following the path down to Gloucester Lodge, Cumberland Terrace, Chester Terrace, and culminating this walk in the southeast corner, Park Crescent. The semicircular shape of this housing development marks the entrance and creates a welcoming and inviting sense for the resident. Regent Park also contains a lake, a royal palace, and a church to support these residential areas, creating a self-contained living environment for the residents of the villas. It was at Park Crescent that the group left Regent Park and headed south until they reached the All Souls Church. It is the circular shape of this religious building which provides a directional vista for those coming down the street and a recognizable defining element for a very busy intersection. It was at this major node that the group broke for lunch. The group digested their lunch and some more history by walking down Regent Street, the second phase of John Nash's master plan for London. Built in 1813, this street serves as a major vehicular and pedestrian path which connects the major landmarks of Regent Park and St. James Park. The students were quite entertained, if not almost killed, at the many nodes bustling with activity. Included among these were Oxford Circus, and Piccadilly Circus, both of which are located at extremely busy intersections, where the colorful and unique taxicabs and people running to and fro are enough to entertain anybody. Regent Street has a city-within-a-city type atmosphere with its variety of facades, monumental colonnades, and crooked and curving paths. It is this varying nature of the streetscape and the enticing vista of St. James Park which provide visual interest and directionality, making it a very successful and well-used street development. Before taking in St. James Park, the group walked through another residential housing development, Carlton House Terrace. This one had special significance as it was once the residence for the prince. From here, the group encountered the third and final link in the master plan of John Nash by walking through St. James Park to Buckingham Palace. After gathering for a group picture, Don dispersed the group for the day, allowing them time to take in a photo op at the night show in Westminster Abbey. And so, another day in the life of London had ended, and the only question remaining was, will it rain tomorrow?
So, Jerry, what's your big hurry today anyways? We don't have to be done for another hour and a half. We'll know he'll be late anyways.
Well, I'm skipping out.
You're gonna do what?
Yeah, I'm skipping out. A group of us are going down to Nice, France. You know, where it's hot and sunny and there's beaches all over. We figure we might as well, take a little break since we have 3 days before we start the Paris tour. What are you guys doing?
Well, after we're done at the monument to the fire of 1666, we're going to take off from Mont Saint Michel, maybe hit the Ronchamp. I think we'll hit Church Theater along the way. Yeah, so anyway, what are we doing today?
The final day of touring in London started out at the monument to the fire of 1666. The fire destroyed most of the city, including 13,200 houses and 87 churches. This disaster provided an extraordinary opportunity for town planning and architecture, which is largely taken advantage of by Christopher Wren. The city was rebuilt to include more town and country elements, in contrast to the old city's dense and treeless network of alleys. Construction also changed drastically from largely heavy timber to predominantly brick. From the monument, Don led us across the London Bridge to Hayes Wharf and Galleria. This was originally a Victorian warehouse district on the Thames River with a large inlet. The inlet has been filled in and the warehouse converted to office and retail space. The large glass-covered pedestrian way provides a public access to the river and the Queen's Walk. Next, we were led on to an area simply called the Circle, in which blue tile facades in the shape of vases form a circular plan where a large horse sculpture is placed in the center. The site was once used for animal stables, but was later redeveloped into housing flats. Next on schedule was Butler's Wharf, a small urban block adjacent to the Tower Bridge. On the way, the group crossed a curious pedestrian bridge, which was made of cables and steel, that allows for it to swing to the side, which provides for the inlet of ships. After lunch, the group walked St. Catherine's Docks to the Wapping residential district, which includes the Tobacco Docks. This bankrupt and barren commercial plaza was renovated by Terry Farrell and finished in 1989. Originally a Georgian brick design with timber trusses and exquisite vaulting, Farrell incorporated steel and cast iron in the restoration. Loading onto the light rail, the group rode to the Canary Wharf. Intended as a satellite of the city, this complex consists of a familiar style of office buildings, being almost entirely an American import. The master plan was done by SOM, which also designed some of the buildings. Other buildings were done by KPF and IMP, with much of the construction materials also coming from foreign land. The tower by Caesar Pelli is the tallest building in the United Kingdom. With that, Don wrapped up the tour of London for the group to go separate ways until the Paris tour, which started 4 days later. For some, this was an opportunity to see more famous architectures, and for others, it became a much-needed break to relax and revive. London definitely gave new experiences to the students, whether it was through the tours or experiencing their first hostel with unisex showers and restrooms.
City which has been planned in every small detail. A river city, but also a city of bridges, cathedrals, and museums. A city of hills and impressive architectural perspectives. It is a city of tiny public gardens, and enormous parks. A city of modern urban areas side by side with old quarters next to it. Basically, Paris is a beautiful city for tourists to enjoy, even a bunch of architect students from NDSU.
Students, there you are.
Hey,
Sorry about that. Is everybody here? What time is it anyway?
it's like 10:30. What time are we supposed to meet?
I thought we were supposed to meet around 9. Well, I guess we're only an hour and a half behind schedule. It's not too bad.
Well, we got everybody here. Where's Jeff Billings? Anybody seen Jeff? Yeah,
Oh.
Jeff, that one tall guy,
Yeah.
skinny, really weird looking.
He was the last one in the shower, so he told me just go ahead and leave without him. He'll meet up with us later, I guess.
All right.
Hey, Paul, what are we doing today?
Well, Rachel, we're scheduled to be at the Louvre at 9:23 a.m., but I'll give you the adjusted time since you are late arrival. Okay, we're going to be at the Louvre at 10:52. Then we're going to go down to the Carousel Arch at 11:27. At 11:39, we should be at the obelisk. And then about 26 minutes to make it down the Champs-Élysées. And then we have an estimated ETA on 12:05 at the Arc de Triomphe. La Defense is also on the schedule, along with Versailles and the Eiffel Tower.
Well, Paul, thank you for that adjusted time schedule. Let's move on. Starting with the Louvre.
Whoa!
Take a look, students. This is the Louvre, which was established first as a fortress, then as a residence, and finally a museum housing many fine pieces of art like the Mona Lisa. The pyramid was done by IMK, who crawls the Grand Louvre. The pyramid is also the beginning of a strong west axial line, which creates a strong path to the city, which eventually terminates at the Grand Arch in La Defense.
Hey, ladies. Paul, this is Don. Sorry I'm late by the stop off.
Well, Jeff, easy on the wine there, really? I might use some of that later, right? All right.
So is this where the Mona Lisa is?
Yes, it is, and we'll see it when we're inside, Jeff, so just calm down. Cool. Rowdy. Next on our schedule is the Carousel Arch, which is also known as the Petite Arch. It was built by Napoleon in 1806. The statue on top was taken from St. Mars in Venice.
Hey, are we gonna see Jim Morrison's grave today?
Yes, Jeff, but just wait, much later, okay? We gotta move on. Kids, forced march. Hey, here we have a slide at the Tuileries Gardens. This was refurbished in 1995 and is an extension of the Louvre Axis and Vista. This garden contains about 100 sculptures, and it was also the first garden open to the public in Europe.
Do you think we can pick the flowers?
I don't think so, Christy, but why don't you give it a try? We'll see if the leaves for the flowers are on the lookout, so I wouldn't try.
Hey, Paul, what's our ETA for the Palace Villa Concord?
Approximately 1.3 minutes.
Good timing, Paul, but I think we better concentrate on getting across the Champs-Élysées. It's pretty busy.
Oh, look at the obelisk.
That's pretty nice. Let's concentrate. Ready? Go! And we're safe. Now we have the slide of the Champs-Élysées. This was created to give an impressive view of the Tuileries Gardens. This area became popular during the Revolution for beheadings. Now it is the main avenue for retail.
Paul, do we have time to eat?
Oh,
Bacon?
sure. In about 12 minutes. I'll go tell Don.
Okay. Okay. First, let's move on and force march. 20 minutes. Yeah. All right, kids. Here we're at the Arc de Triomphe. This was built to celebrate the victory of the Grand Army. The arch is approximately 160 feet tall.
Hey, what does Arc de Triomphe mean anyway?
Well, Rachel, it's correctly pronounced in French, Arc de Triomphe, which means in American, Arc of Triumph. And we must move on. Let's go. Time. Finally, the last place of the west axial line through Paris, which ends terminus at La Défense. This began in the 1950s to solve traffic problems and give the capital a ceremonial avenue worthy of its status. The Grand Arch is the final terminus of the Grand Avenue. It has 360 feet high, wide, and deep.
Well, it sure is a lot of concrete out here, isn't there?
Hey, Christine, there sure is.
Well,
Hey, do we get to eat soon or what?
Yeah, what about Morrison's grave? No time for that, Jeffrey. We're off to Versailles, so we'll eat while you can, ladies and gentlemen.
let's go. Here we are at Versailles. Versailles was ruled by Louis XIII through Louis XVI for a total of 130 years. It was first built as a hunting lodge in order for the king to have a place to get away. They used the sun as an emblem for the empire because the sun is the center of the universe. Inside, you will find the famous Hall of Mirrors, and out back there are many wonderful bike trails. Guys, have you seen Jeff? Did he get lost somewhere? Mr. Ellingson? Jeff?
Yeah. Hey, there he is! Come on, Jeff, let's go. Paul says we gotta get going if we want to make it to the Eiffel Tower on time. Yeah.
Paul is correct. We must keep on a schedule, so let's go to the Eiffel Tower. Forest March. The Eiffel Tower, 1,050 feet tall, and was built as an exhibition at the 1895 World's Fair. The tower is so tall that it acts as a landmark for the orientation throughout the city.
Hey, lady, Paul, Professor Don, you guys will never guess where I was.
Oh, Jim
Morrison's grave.
Guessed it. Come on, baby, light my fire. Wow, this is unbelievable. I can't believe we're in Gay Paris.
Yeah, this is beautiful. But I'm beginning to miss things like free refills on pop when you're in a restaurant.
Not having to pay to use the restroom.
American TV shows like Baywatch and Jeopardy.
Jeopardy!
Nutella, the all-purpose international spread. Is it chocolate? Is it peanut butter? Is it from a parallel universe? No one really knows, but it's perfect on une baguette in France, eine Brötchen in Germany, or even crumpets in England. Nutella, spread the word today. This is Jeopardy! Let's meet our contestants for today. Contestant number 1. Contestant number 1 is currently taking time off from studying architecture and working for the Lego Corporation as a product analyst. Let's meet Erica. Contestant number 2 is an architecture professor at the prestigious Northern College of Architecture in Bath, South Dakota. Hello, Chad. Contestant number 3 is an aspiring architectural intern in Phoenix, Arizona. Still trying to pay off her Europe trip '96, she is currently working nights and weekends as a cocktail waitress. Let's greet Denise and give all contestants a round of applause. To kick off this episode of Jeopardy, let's welcome our host, Alex.
Hello, welcome to our European version of the Jeopardy show. Today here, we have a very special version of the show. Our 3 contestants will be answering questions pertaining to the northern parts of Europe, specifically dealing with Stockholm, Sweden, Helsinki, Finland, Berlin, Germany, and Prague, which is in the Czech Republic. First of all, I'd like to go and introduce today our Jeopardy categories. To start off with, we'll go to landmarks. Next will be architects. Mixed nuts to follow that. Pronunciations. Museums. and importantly to us, money. Denise, I believe you won the coin toss behind the stage. Could you begin for us?
Alex said like landmarks for 100.
The answer is, this section of Stockholm, Sweden is known as the Old Town. Chad.
Gammelstein.
Correct. You select.
I'll take... That's for 100, please.
Designed by Asplin, this library is known for its unique cylindrical shape. Erica.
What is the Stockholm Library?
Correct. You select now.
Architects for 100.
Answer is, this well-known architect has designed both the Student Union and the gymnasium for the University of Stockholm. Erica.
Who is Ralph Erskine?
Correct. Select again.
I'll take architects for 200.
Stockholm's Stadhuset, or City Hall, was designed by this architect in the beginning of the 20th century.
Ding!
Denise.
Who is Lars Anderson?
No, I don't think that's correct.
Chad. Who is Ragnar Ostberg?
You are right. Select.
Museums for 100, please.
Answer is, this Scandinavian museum in Stockholm houses a warship that never ever saw a battle. Erica.
What is the Vasa Museum?
Correct. You select.
Pronunciations for 100.
This cemetery, just outside of Stockholm, is known for its significance in architectural design.
Ding!
Denise.
What is
No. Chad.
What is the Skogskirkegarden?
Can we get a ruling from that on our Judge Kari?
Well, Alex, it's Skokes Kierkegaarden. That's correct.
We can accept that. Thank you. That is correct for 100. Denise, you select again.
Pronunciations for 200.
This Finnish word is the name of an architectural studio designed and occupied by Eli Saarinen. Chad.
What is Vitras?
Yes, you are correct.
Pronunciations for 300, please.
Known in English as the Church of the Rock, this famous Finnish... Denise. Or Erica, I'm sorry.
What is Temple?
No, I don't think so.
Ding!
Denise.
What is Temple and Cleo?
Judge, ruling on this pronunciation?
Well, Alex, that would be Temple Yakio.
Can we accept her answer?
Sure.
Thank you, Kari. Select again.
Can I have money for 100, please?
A famous architect whose picture is found on Finnish currency.
Ding!
Denise.
Who's Albert Earl?
Thank you, that is correct for 100. Select again.
Money for 200.
This country has such an intense fondness for nature and wildlife, it imprints plants and animals on many of its coins. Erica.
What is Finland?
Correct for 200. Select again.
I'll take museums for 200.
A science center outside of Helsinki that was designed by architects Coleman and Heiking. Erica.
What is the Kirby Museum?
No, I'm sorry, that's a vacuum.
Ding!
Denise.
What is the Hoover?
Well, no, that's not a vacuum. Chad.
What is the Eureka Science Museum?
Very good. You select.
Museums for 300, please.
This museum in Helsinki, which showcases the Finnish love of natural building materials such as wood elements. Erica.
What is the Architecture Museum?
You are right. Select.
Landmarks for 200.
This striking building in Helsinki is a testimony to the importance of mass transit in Northern Europe.
Ding!
Denise.
What's the Bond Club?
No.
BB.
Erica.
What is the Helsinki Railway Station?
You are right for 200. Select.
I'll take mixed nuts for 200.
Because of failure of exterior materials to weather well, this civic building in Helsinki has been a disappointment to the city's residents.
BB.
Erica.
What is the Landia Hall?
You are right.
Mixed nuts for 300.
This area of Berlin has some of the most expensive real estate in Germany and is projected to be an area of new development within the city. Chad.
What is Potsdamer Platz?
You are right. Select.
Mixed nuts for 400.
This stainless steel monstrosity with futuristic appearance is the location for many civic events in Berlin, as well as the occasional Trekkie convention.
Ding!
Denise.
The ICC.
Yes, otherwise known as the Internationale Congress Centrum. Select.
Landmarks for 300.
This famous landmark in Berlin was part of the dividing wall of the city for 28 years.
Ding!
Denise.
What is the Berlin Wall?
No, I'm sorry. We're looking for part of the wall.
BB.
Erica.
What is the Brandenburg Gate?
Yes, you are correct. 2 minutes remaining in the round. Select again.
Museums for 400, please.
A museum created by the Nazis, which houses actual structures of ancient Greece, including the Ishtar Gate.
BB.
Erica.
What is the Pergamon?
You are right. Select again.
Museums for 500.
To close out the category, a museum dedicated to the German School of Architecture, which was founded by Walter Gropius. Chad.
What is the Bauhaus Museum?
You are correct for 500. Good job. Select.
Pronunciations for 400.
This cathedral was victim of a World War II Allied bombing. The site includes a new chapel, a tower, and a huge oversized meatball. Chad.
What is the Kaiser Wilhelm Gedächtniskirche?
For sure we need a ruling on this one, Kari.
Well, I'll tell you, that would be the Kaiser Wilhelm Gedächtniskirche. Close enough.
Way to go, Chad. Select.
Pronunciations for 500, please.
The answer is, this enormous park was used by German royalty, and its name translates into the Animal Garden.
Ding.
Denise.
What is the tiergarten?
You are correct.
Money for 300.
This money contains pictures of officials that are almost like caricatures. Some refer to this country's money as grumpy old men. Chad.
What is German money or Deutschmarks?
Yes, very good.
Money for 400, please.
The price of a Coke in this city is a hefty $3 American. Erica.
What is Berlin?
Yes, select.
I'll take money for 500.
In this country, your money will buy you more than it will in almost anywhere else in Europe. Erica.
What is the Czech Republic?
Yes, you are right for 500.
I'll take architects for 300.
1 minute remaining in the round. A Czech architect known for designing chalices for clergy as well as a castle complex in Prague during the 1920s. Chad.
Who is Joseph Plotnik?
You are right.
Architects for 400, please.
The answer is an American architect whose signature style is apparent in this building in Prague.
Ding.
Denise.
Who is Frank Gehry?
Yes, you are right for 400.
I have architects for 500.
Well, this would be our daily double. Denise, how much would you like to wager?
I'll wager $1,300.
$1,300. And the answer is an architectural team from North Dakota who believe in quality roundtable discussions at the end of a hard day of touring. Now think carefully on this one.
Who are Steve Martins and Milt Eargers?
Very good, Denise. Thank you. You select again.
I have landmarks for 400.
Answer. This bridge was an integral connecting piece during parades and processions from Prague's castle to the Star Miesto, or Old Town. Erica.
What is the Charles Bridge?
Correct. Select.
Landmarks for 500.
This landmark in Prague's Old Town Square is the location of an hourly attraction.
Ding.
Denise.
What is the astronomical clock?
Yes, correct. And do you know how many ways this clock tells time by chance?
Can't count
Yes, I think you are correct, but it might be 4. We might need a ruling on that later. Select again.
I have mixed nuts for 500.
Although called a square, this busy pedestrian area of Prague is more of a promenade. Erica.
What is Wenceslas Square?
Yes, you are right. Select. Or I'm sorry. Now it's time for Final Jeopardy. The category for today's Final Jeopardy is accommodations. Now, as we go to commercial, our host, judge, commercial person will lead us in a few commercials while our 3 contestants decide on their wagers. So think carefully.
Final Jeopardy brought to you today by Europe's #1 ice cream bar. While walking the cobblestone streets laden with pack and bag, you desire a frozen treat, for your feet have begun to drag. Dave?
Dave!
What's that in here?
Dave? You dig through your currency and count up the sum. No matter the country, it's time for Magnum. That's right, Magnum, Europe's #1 ice cream treat. Thank you, Dave, and enjoy that big Magnum. Final Jeopardy also brought to you by Fanta. There's no right way to drink a Fanta. Case number 4556. Here, Angie displays Fanta's use as a medicinal tonic for nasty train-jumping falls. Ah, yes, osmosis at its best. Fanta, pick one up today. Back to you, Alex.
hope our three contestants had enough time to think about their knowledge of accommodations in these four countries. Are you ready for the Final Jeopardy answer? Today, the answer will be, this unique hostel in Stockholm's harbor may leave you a little seasick in the morning. Think carefully. Right. We'll begin with Denise, who came through with a lowly $2,300. And what would be your response?
What are the Super 8 and the Ramada?
No, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. And how much is it going to cost you today?
$22.99.
So that would leave you with a hefty $1. Alrighty. Moving right along to Erica, who came into Final Jeopardy with $3,300. And what did she say?
What are the A.F. Chapman and Gustav?
Yes, that is correct. And how much did you wager, Erica?
$2,001.
So that is going to leave you with a total of $5,301. Now, moving on to our high money man that came into Final Jeopardy with $3,500. What did Chad say?
What are the A.F. Chapman and the USS Minnow?
No, the Minnow was in a different show. But, good guess. How much is it going to cost you, Chad, for that incorrect answer?
$2,000.
So, that's going to leave you with $1,500. That would make Erica our champion today. Kari, could you tell our runners-up what they're going to get today?
Sure, Alex. Our second and third place contestants will be spending one glorious night aboard the Viking Line cruise, partying their way to a lovely coastal city of Helsinki, Finland. Alcohol and cigarettes will be available at duty-free shop. Let's give a hand to those folks. Last but not least, our grand prize winner will be departing in 5 minutes for the beautiful city of Venice, Italy, where she will be spending 2 lovely weeks sketching, walking, and hopping trains. Back to you, Alex, and congratulations, Erica.
Thank you, Kari. Thank you, contestants, for playing. And Erica, have a nice time in Venice.
At last, I am in one of the most majestic and stenographic public spaces in the world, San Marco Square. It's really 2 squares next to each other in the shape of an L. The Church of San Marco forms one side of the square, while a smaller piazzetta and the library to San Marco form the other sides out to the water. The bell tower in the square partially fell down in 1904. Was rebuilt using the original materials. I'll have to be careful where I sit next time. There are a lot of pigeons around here.
I guess this is the main church in the square called San Marco. It was built from 1063 to 1094 and forms an edge to the square. The statues on the top of the church are the apostles. When I was in it earlier, the interior was covered in gold leaf and very ornate. The only thing I didn't like about it was it smelled like Scott's grandma's house. I wonder what the wood stuff on the side of it is. They must be adding a garage to it.
I think I'll sketch San Giorgio Maggiore. It was designed by the famous Venetian architect Palladio in 1566. This is one of the architects in the city's most famous works. When I was there yesterday, I went to the top of the bell tower and could see the whole city. There was a real good aerial view of the square where I am sitting right now. It was a pretty rough ride on the water taxi to get over there. I feel sorry for anyone who is in Venice that gets easily seasick.
I think I'll sketch a few of the wonderful bridges in Venice. The bridges are everywhere and they're used to cross the canals. I like the bridges because they are part of solid ground. I dropped my Dramamine in the canal and almost died of seasickness going over to San Giorgio Maggiore yesterday. part about Venice is the canals. In the old days, the boats would pull up to the doors and unload their goods. Venice was built on about 116 islands over the course of time. This allowed for the canals to form. I wonder if anyone thought about buying a jet ski around here. I wonder where the sewage goes when they flush their toilets. I think we're going to go to Florence next.
Hey students, now that you've seen Florence, why don't we spend a little time sketching? Okay, students, we've seen Florence for the past few days. Let's write in our journals a little while.
One of the most important buildings in the city is the Duomo. It was begun in 1296. Brunelleschi won the competition for the design of the dome. The base is held together with bands of wood for compression to keep it from falling outward. The dome is the tallest structure in Florence, and all the red roofs of the city can be seen from it. I wish I went on top of the bell tower, though. Then I could spit on all the pigeons.
It was my lifelong dream to see San Lorenzo. The cloister was designed in 1475 by Brunelleschi. Within are the famous stairs designed by Michelangelo. The cascading stairs were just as I imagined them to be. He was commissioned to design the front facade also, but it was never completed. Designing a facade would be a great project for the instructors to give those lazy third-year students.
The Church of Santa Maria Novella was begun in 1246. The church has perfect proportion in the facade and is also quite colorful. It is strange that the front of the church is so nice, but the back and sides are left in plain bare stone. The interior is nice also, but it kind of smells like my grandma's house. The courtyard in front has benches for people to sit on and relax. After I kicked that bum off the bench, I just sat there and enjoyed a lovely glass of Metamucil.
Yesterday we visited the Pazzi Chapel. It was begun in 1442 and designed by Brunelleschi. In competition with the Medici family, the Pazzi family had their own chapel built to worship in. The interior space is bright and spacious, not what one would suspect from the front. The small, brilliant structure represented a high point in the early Renaissance style. Not transcendental in the medieval sense, the Pazzi Chapel is nevertheless a heavenly structure, for it is meant to express the capacity of architecture to embody the mathematical ordering of the cosmos. Wasn't Pazzi that guy in Happy Days? I finally saw Michelangelo's David the other day. The first time I saw the statue of David, I was looking up naked pictures on the internet, and this divine man popped on the screen. Unfortunately, there is a glass railing around the statue because in 1994, a crazed artist started smashing the big toe of the statue. So I guess that rules out touching. Geez, he sure does have big hands.
Ponte Vecchio is a bridge that goes over the Arno River in Florence. From the exterior, it looks like a rundown frat house on the south side of campus. On the inside, there are jewelry shops that line both sides of the street. Only 24-karat gold is sold in Italy because of their high standards. Jim Nelson showed one of the shopkeepers his wedding band and they just laughed at him. He told me not to tell anybody that. Time to go to San Gimignano.
Why don't we head back to the well, meet the rest of the group, write in our journals,
San Gimignano is one of the most perfectly preserved Tuscan towns. It is laid out along a ridge in a linear form. We had to take a 15-mile bus ride to get to this small town. I like the town because it has the qualities of old Italy, but now tourists have helped to westernize it by introducing such things as toothpaste, shampoo, and toilet paper.
San Gimignano is sure a great place to visit. It's like a vacation inside of a vacation. It's so peaceful here. I enjoyed the towers that rise above the city. These towers were built in the 12th and 13th century by private families. We got to go in one of them yesterday, and I could see for miles around. The sights were great, but I got a little bit of vertigo from climbing up all those stairs. The hangover didn't help either. Maybe I will grab a bottle of wine and relax tonight.
This city's pretty cool. When I first arrived in the city, I walked through a big gate and was greeted by a good-looking Italian lady who was selling wine. After that, it's been one big Chardonnay holiday. Buildings in the city as a whole are pretty neat, but I can't get over the fact that they make their own wine here. Looks like I'm in for one rough night. Scott always looks so intense and down to business. I wonder what he's thinking.
Missing the KISS concert in the cities right now. That and the fact that Todd is on his third bottle of wine for the evening is going to make tonight a drag. I'm glad I brought my Flowbee with. These haircuts is going to help pay for this trip. I wonder if Todd even knows where he is right now.
I have no idea where I am right now. Pretty cool. Tonight is looking pretty good as long as I don't get locked in the bathroom like last night. Scott's such a drag. He's always whining about how he misses his wife. I say if you see a good-looking girl, go for it. It was the Romans. Who the hell am I kidding? I couldn't get a date from Helen Keller. I don't let anyone know that. It'll ruin my reputation as a lady killer.
This wine sure tastes good. All I've eaten is goat cheese and a fish head. It's a double buzz for me. When Todd gets loaded, he sure is a jerk. But he does sure pick up the ladies. I wonder if he's ever heard of that new stuff that came out the other day. It's called deodorant.
Look at that Jim kid. He sure is a $1.25 sniffling wuss. I wonder if he wanted his haircut like that or if his barb was blind. He puts right in here with all these idiot Italians.
I wonder why people keep yelling, "Run, Forrest, run." You know, Todd is so ugly, he can make a freight train take a dirt road. And his voice, oh, it sounds like Greg Brady after he's been sniffing glue for an hour. I miss my dog Fluffy. He's the only thing alive on this planet that truly understands me.
I can't wait to get to the nude beaches in France. When in France, do as the French. I'll be free, finally free. I hope Jim doesn't come along. His back hair scares me. I wonder where we're going next.
With all this writing, I sure am glad that I bought a book on phonics. I would have otherwise flunked the journal part of this class. I really like the Campo. It was built in the 13th century at the base of the three hills that form Siena. Last night, when everyone was sleeping, I came here and rolled down the slope of the Campo. That so far was for sure the highlight of this trip.
I like the bell tower at the end of the Campo. It is built of red brick and travertine, much like everything else in the city. Last night I saw the strangest thing. I think it was Lee rolling down the hill in the Campo. He was laughing hysterically. Man, he's weird.
The coolest part of Siena was the cathedral. It is black and white striped and is very big. And you got a cool shot of it at night from their window. The city doesn't seem as old as San Gimignano, but it is. Maybe because it's so clean and well kept. I think it has to be. The $3 I paid for that can of Coke sure won't attract tourists.
The interior of the cathedral is great. The sculpture in gold must have taken a long time to complete. I didn't like the fact that I had to take my hat off inside the church. My toupee almost fell off. This interior is one of the best preserved I've seen to date. And most important of all, it doesn't smell like my grandma's house. I guess you'd better be off to the train station for our trip to Rome.
Okay, students, we spent the last 5 days in Rome. Since our trip is about to close, why don't we spend some time writing our journals?
Finally, I get a chance to write in my journal. That spot over there at the base of the Spanish Steps looks pretty good. I think I'll eat my banana. Oh, that's right. You can't eat on the Spanish Steps. The Spanish Steps were built from 1723 to 1725. The Spanish Steps takes its name from the palace below, which housed the Spanish embassy. The steps provide a welcoming point of encounter at the center of Rome.
Last Saturday, we all met at the Trevi Fountain. It reminded me a lot of the Spanish Steps because it's another gathering area. It is said that the soldiers of Agrippa, looking for water in Italy's Via Calatrina, met the maidens who showed them a source of this pure water, which has since been called the Virgin Water. King Titan and the Tritons were sculpted here in the fountain. Last night, when I was at the Trevi Fountain, there was a drunk guy diving into it. I tried to get Todd out, but the police got him first.
Dear Journal, yesterday we saw Tempio San Pietro. It was designed in 1502 by the famous architect Bramante. Its name means Little Temple. Dan said it was the first building since antiquity in which a colonnaded porch encircles the cella. What the heck is a cella? The King of Spain wanted it built as a memorial to St. Peter. I guess this is the supposed martyr spot of St. Peter. I hope the cool guys let me hang out with him tonight.
The other day we went to the Vatican, right after Hadrian's tomb. Hadrian's tomb is the focal point after crossing the river. Before the Vatican was built, Hadrian's tomb encompassed much of the area. With the gradual hill around the tomb, it is one of the high points of the countryside. To make room for the Vatican City, the hill was removed. As an escape route for the Pope, tunnels were built from St. Peter's to the tomb for a hideout in case of attack. I hope Lee doesn't ask to hang out with us again tonight. We had to carry him home the other night. The plaza in front of St. Peter's extends out to the passerby, as if beckoning to them. This is where the people congregate to listen to the Pope speak. My faith was reborn as I felt the presence of His Holy Eminence floating around the place.
On Tuesday, I saw a cool church. It was the Church of the Four Fountains, or as the Spanish call it, a la Cuatro Fontaine. It was designed in 1638 by Borromini. The interior flowing spaces became a trend for the late 17th and 18th century design. The other group members said that it was interior space is pretty nice. I couldn't go in because I stepped in dog doo-doo.
Wow, it's great to finally see the Vatican City. I should send my mom and dad a postcard. They have a post office right here. The Vatican City is a country of its own. St. Peter's is very beautiful. The interior of the building is incredibly big and luxurious. The building had 7 or 8 architects help design it over the 150 years of its construction. Men from the Swiss Army are enlisted to guard the city. I don't think that's a good idea to have men wearing clown suits guard the Pope. I wish the Pope was here. I feel like I'm making a pilgrimage since I'm a Catholic. Good thing I have pants on. They don't let you go into St. Peter's Basilica if you have shorts on. Or maybe it's just because they don't let guys with chicken legs in. After the grand tour of the Basilica, I got in line to see the Sistine Chapel. After waiting over an hour to get into the door, I had to wait another 30 minutes to get a ticket. I don't know if it was worth the wait or not. It looked like a big barn with a painted ceiling. Michelangelo was in his 70s when he painted it. I guess he had a lot of practice by then. I wish I was the Pope. Then I could come in here after hours and see it when it's peaceful and quiet.
I can't believe I got my camera stolen in the middle of broad daylight at the Coliseum. I bet it was that greasy Italian guard that looks kind of like Andy. Anyway, the Coliseum was built from 72 to 80 AD. It was used for gladiator fights, and they even filled it up with water for mock naval battles. The second floor is called the Vomitorium because it was a food court where the Romans would eat so much they would puke off the sides of the balcony. If I ever catch that person who stole my camera, they will wish they were in the Coliseum fighting a lion instead.
Yesterday I saw the strangest thing. It looked like Jason's dad living in a cardboard box in front of the Pantheon. I always thought he lived in a box in Ashley. The Pantheon is one of the most important Roman temples and one of the best preserved. The inscription above the door marks when it was built in 27 BC by Marcus Agrippa, son-in-law of Augustus, in honor of all the gods, hence the name. It was destroyed by fire in 80 AD. How, I don't know. How the hell the stone burned? It was rebuilt in the time of Hadrian between 110 and 125 AD. In 609, the temple was changed into a Christian church by Pope Boniface IV, who dedicated it to the Virgin Mary and all the martyrs. The inside diameter is the same as the height from the floor to the top of the dome. The 30-foot diameter hole in the roof was left open so prayers could freely ascend. Yeah, I bet they get pretty wet when rain freely descends. I wish Heidi would quit crying about her camera. Someone should tell her that it's hanging around her neck. What a bimbo.
Dan took us to the coolest place, Adrian's Villa. It must have been more popular than Elvis to have such a cool summer home. It is located about 20 miles outside of Rome and is one of the best preserved of ancient Roman ruins. This place gives me a great idea for a thesis. I gotta get started on that. I wonder why they don't clean up all this rubble. Kinda looks like my apartment.
The space I liked best in Rome was the Forum. I can just imagine the basilicas, temples, and monuments that surrounded the civic plaza. The ruins symbolize the greatness of Rome but lacked urban planning. The buildings seemed tightly placed together, with little regard for the spaces between the buildings. It would be really cool if they cleaned the junk off the ground. And why did the sculptor who created all these statues forget to put the heads and arms on? For Christ's sake, they could at least mow the lawn. Scott accidentally tipped over that column. He thought no one saw him. Maybe I could blackmail him into buying me a new camera. Tivoli is the location of Hadrian's Villa, and it was so well liked that the Emperor Maximus Hercules in the early 14th century created a garden of his own. The layout of the garden is not the same order as Hadrian's, it is more chaotic, representing the inevitable fall of Rome. The fountains were the coolest things I have ever seen. They were run totally by gravity. My great aunt Marley would love this garden. It's been a fun trip, and I'm definitely going to do this again. Finally, I get to get on a plane for America.
After nearly 2 months of seeing the world, beating the pavement, and eating bread and wine, the tour was finally over. Even though the trip was a thrilling experience, for many, this was a time of relief. The thought of wearing different clothes, living out of a home instead of a backpack, and driving a car were getting closer to reality with every second. The students were anxious to reach the land of the free, the home of the brave. They were coming back to America.
European adventure, please come forward. To receive a small gift from us for the vast amount of knowledge they just gave to us as we were traveling throughout Europe. Since our advertisements were so popular and featured all of the staff that came along with us, we have made a copy for each of them. That they can hang on their mantle and show off to all their friends when they come to